Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Launch Codes Football. My name is Chris W,
And I'm Chris P.
And I'm Chelsea.
and today we are on, I believe, episode 78. We have really made our way up there, guys. Congrats to us. Woo woo, cheer, cheer, clap, clap.
Yeah, 3/4 of the way to 100. That's pretty crazy if you think about it.
It honestly is. I feel like Chelsea, remember like when we just like started it and it was just if that's been like 4 years ago. That's
I
crazy.
know we're old now.
True. Um, but yeah, how are you guys doing today?
Doing good, doing good. Um, One of our topics today is going to be regarding some New York Jets football. And I personally, I don't know if any of you guys that are listening follow this, but I listen to WFAN, New York City's premier sports station, radio station. And all of their hosts have been talking about their angst with Aaron Rodgers. So I just think it's funny that we're talking about it on here because it is quite a popular topic right now, as Rodgers is unfortunately known to be quite a dramatic fellow.
Agreed. He always has drama around him. But yeah, okay. Well, we'll get into that. Chris, if you'll notice, he doesn't have a camera right now, but that's fine. No worries. We know we can feel his presence still. Don't worry in his hot takes.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
I'm
look
always
at
ready.
his screensaver if you're watching the video on YouTube. I mean, it's the background of the gif of the dog that's in the house on fire saying this is fine. I feel like that perfectly encapsulates how the Jets feel right now. But we'll get into that.
All right. Well, let's get into it. So, for those of you who may not know or may not be familiar, right now there are mandatory training camps going on for the New York Jets. And two of their marquee players are currently not there, and that be Aaron Rodgers and Hassan Reddick, who Hassan Reddick they just signed from the Eagles this past offseason. Now, I think guys, I don't know what you think about this, but it seems to me like the team consensus is that Aaron Rodgers is out and it's an excused absence. They're not saying for why, but the coach says, I think Coach Salah said he knows why and he's fine with it. But Hassan Reddick, nobody knows, and it's actually an unexcused absence. And there's a lot of theories going around. Now, for context for people, Hassan Reddick went on his Twitter. He said people are just making stuff up and they don't actually know the whole thing. Fair enough. Um, yeah, guys, let's get into it. So, what do you all think about this? How about we start with you, Chris? What are your thoughts first on, I guess both. What do you think of both guys, Rogers and Hassan Reddick, being out of this? Is this overblown or is this serious?
I think, and don't get me wrong, like this is the off season. We're scrounging for some good old news rather than, wait until the couple months. Um, and these are some big name, at least with Aaron Rodgers, a big name player. Um, and with them, like honestly, I have like no, I don't think his sort of role will be let go. I don't think it's something that is a potential, oh, well, you did this, we're not going to start you. I think he has a spot already locked in. There's nothing that's going to be like, oh, he can't leave. It's like, oh, there's a potential person like to take your job. It's like not really. Like Aaron Rodgers is locked in. Um, Honestly, this gives him time to rest, recover. It's not like, I mean, he's an older quarterback that a mini training camp something could go wrong potentially, and he could potentially get hurt yet again. So I think his sort of position is fine with the Reddick. I don't, honestly don't know. Like I always say that, like, celebrities, I want to be like a celebrity and be like this, but it's like, what if his kid was, or what if something happened family wise, that all of a sudden that day that happened, he's like, hey, I can't come. And they're like, no, you got to come. It's a small thing. It's like to him, it's big deal, you know? Uh, I mean, we had, was it Sean Taylor who played for the Redskins at that time being called, and tried to spend so much time with his family, and people were like, what are you doing? Like you're skipping out on training camp. He's like, find me. I if you're just going to be here on the news and it's just trying to blame me for something, I'm going to be with my family and take care of my family. So like with this, there's a lot of speculation, and with me, there's no evidence as to like, oh, he's like lazing off. He could be working, he could be working on his game while in meantime. So I think we should give him some doubt. I think people are giving too many speculations without evidence as to what is happening, and I don't think that's a good response because we're all human. Things happen, We call out of work, out of jobs. Sometimes, you don't give a call to your boss in time that if they call you back, you know, they, they're at that time, the press conference was declaring that he was unexcused. We don't know if he called back a couple hours later, like, hey, this emergency came up and it was excused, but by then it was too late. They couldn't say anything. So that's what my hot take is regarding this situation. Rodgers is fine, and Reddick, let's not speculate until we figure out more information.
Okay, I think that's fair. What do you think, Chelsea?
So, I mean, with Aaron Rodgers, like I said in the intro, Aaron Rodgers has a reputation with being an overly dramatic player in this league. He's kind of always been that way. I can't say I'm really surprised that he's not showing up to minicamp. It seems very on brand for Aaron Rodgers. Now, the thing about it is that the Jets, they are stuck with him. If they are tired of his dramatics and his antics and his unruly behavior, well, guess you should have planned for that better because they are stuck with him. Like Chris said, they don't have any other options, at least any other options that are proven. The only option that they had was Zach Wilson, and pretty much the jury is out on him. No one really thinks that he's going to, be a successful starter in the league at this point. He's more of a backup type. And we had seen him play for the Jets and it did not go well. So, I mean, if the Jets were that worried about Aaron Rodgers being dramatic or not showing up to something or getting hurt again, they would have taken out more of an insurance policy on him, but they didn't. So it's like the reality is they're stuck with him. Whether he comes or doesn't come, it doesn't really matter. Like, he's the guy. And basically, the entire year for this franchise is dependent on Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers comes out and is amazing, the Jets are probably going to make the playoffs and are probably going to have a pretty good team. If Aaron Rodgers comes out flat and is terrible and continues regressing, the Jets are probably not going to be that good. So really, the entire season for this team hinges on Aaron Rodgers. One just hopes that Aaron Rodgers just decides to, once the season starts, to prioritize his job, try and figure out how he can get this team wins. I've heard a lot of conversations around Robert Saleh, people not really being a huge fan of him and how he's managing this team. I mean, I don't really have an opinion on that. I mean, the Jets as a franchise have kind of always had issues. So, I mean, you kind of know that when you come in to coach the franchise, that there's going to be extra drama around this team because it's in New York. The same thing happens with the Giants. I mean, look at all the conversation that's been around Daniel Jones basically since he got drafted. Like, that's just the environment and the atmosphere that you come in when you play for a team in New York City. That's just the expectation. So, I mean, with Aaron Rodgers, he'll probably come back. Who knows? Maybe he's up on top of a mountain doing something like last time. I don't know. But I imagine once things become required, Aaron Rodgers will show back up. But I mean, like Chris said, he's a veteran. I mean, he suffered a really bad injury last year. He probably doesn't want to put his body at risks that he doesn't need to take. So I mean, I can empathize with that to some degree. I still think you should probably tell people where you're going, and maybe he has. It's probably just not public knowledge. I'm sure the coach knows, like Wiles was saying. But I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I don't really worry about. This is just his pattern. He's just dramatic. Something has to happen every offseason for the Jets. Whether it's in the preseason, whether it's free agency, whether it's draft, like they cannot go an offseason without some kind of drama happening. It's just in their DNA. In regards to Hassan Reddick, I think that's a lot more interesting because they traded for Hassan Reddick from the Eagles, and Hassan Reddick, he wants to get paid. Like that's really all it comes down to. It's not so much, in my opinion, a matter of enjoying the team that he plays for or liking the coach or liking the management. Like, bro wants to get paid. Bro knows he's really good, and he knows that this team traded for him with the intent of keeping him longer than one season. He wants to get paid. Like, that's what I think. I think that he's holding out because he just wants money. Should you do that? Probably not. Strikes me as a little bit selfish, especially when a team went out of their way to get you. But unfortunately, that is a common reality in most major sports leagues at this point. This is happening everywhere, whether it be in basketball, whether it be in the football, even in college, you have people that, want sponsorship deals now. So, I mean, this is not an uncommon thing to occur at this point. I think Hassan Reddick's really good. I think he's going to make their front seven even better than it was last year. And it was not bad last year. Like, they had a pretty good defense last year, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, I think he was a great ad. But, like, at the same time, like, if you're Joe Douglas and you're the GM of this team, you don't trade for Hassan Reddick and then go, oh, yeah, I'm not going to pay you. Like, why bother trading for him? Like, we know you don't just want him as a rental. Like, pay the guy, keep him on your team for a couple of years, and get this drama out of the way. Like, I just don't think it's worth it. There was a comment that came out that I heard on WFAN. I think someone was talking about how apparently Robert Saleh said he hadn't even talked to Hassan Reddick. And I'm like, I don't know how, considering you're the coach of the team. But, like I said, the Jets, they can't go an off season without some kind of dramatics happening. Um, Hassan Reddick, they could probably get away with him holding out. I mean, their defense, like I said, was not bad last year. I mean, it wasn't the best, but I mean, it was above average. It was pretty good. So, I mean, if he like held out for the whole year, would it suck? Well, yeah. I mean, Jets fans would probably be in agony if that happened. But you can't say the same for Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers like suddenly out of nowhere decided to sit out or hold out, which I really don't think would happen, but I'm just playing devil's advocate. Like, if that happened, that would literally crush this team. So I think if they had to choose one player to hold out, they'd probably choose Reddick, honestly, rather than Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers, I don't worry about. Hassan Reddick, just pay him. Just avoid the drama. Talk to him, talk to his agent, figure out a contract, and just move on with your life. Like, you obviously traded for him for a reason, and you obviously traded for him because you thought you'd have the money to pay him. So just pay him. I mean, he's worth it. Just do it. Like, it's not worth all this drama.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they wanted him as a 1 year rental pretty much and just to roll with this Philly contract. Um,
They should have
I,
thought about that before they signed him and then decided they didn't want to pay him.
well, they traded for him, I guess, just thinking they could just roll with the last year of it or with this contract the way that it is. I don't know exactly if it's over money or what. I mean, technically, he hasn't said, nobody's said really. Um, but I do agree. It does feel like, I mean, these are the kinds of things that a team who wants to win, these are the kind of dramas that you don't want right before or, during the off season. Now, I think you are right. The Jets have had a very good defense last year. Look, in a lot of ways, the Jets are built to just win, except their offensive line. I don't really know if they've really addressed it well enough. And my fear is that they're just like, oh, we've got Rodgers, we've got Rodgers. But my fear is that even if they've got him, I mean, the O line is going to beat and batter him. Do I think he'll be injured in 4 plays? Probably not.
I
But
hope not. Can you imagine? I think New York City would explode if that happened.
I mean, but I think that there's also, I don't know. To me, I guess my concern for them is even if they do have Rodgers, even if they didn't have drama, if he takes too many hits, he's like 40 somethings, and you don't want to be getting hit at that age. I mean, Brady, he was very good at not getting hit. And even though sometimes he did, he still had a very good offensive line, especially in Tampa. Um, but I think as far as these two sitting out, that I'm going to say it's as of now not really a big deal. Um, I do think there's a deadline, right? I do think eventually, if we hit like mandatory training camp, like practices where they are trying to learn the plays, and maybe they're doing some of that now, of course, but when we get to that point where it's like, hey, this is mandatory practice and training camp before the season, and they're still sitting out, which we have seen in the past. I think then we could see like, okay, there's either something really wrong here, or yeah, maybe there's something to do with contract. I don't know. Um, but you are right. That is one thing though. The Jets really don't have a backup plan. I mean, they have Tyrod Taylor as their backup QB.
Yeah, that
Um,
doesn't inspire much confidence for me personally.
yeah, no, he's not going to go out there and win them, a Super Bowl, but he is, but Rodgers is being paid a lot of money. It's like $75 million, not $75.
$75.
That's all the city of New York could afford. Um, yeah, it's
They
like a
shelled it
75
all
million.
out to Hassan Reddick. No, just kidding.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna say this is more on the side of overblown. I do think, Chris, you're kind of right in the way that right now ESPN, all of those sites are just in an NFL dry season, so they're looking for something to talk about. Um, and would they have talked about this anyway, even if it wasn't a dry season? Yes, 100%. It's a big market team. Anything that they do, especially like in New York, they're gonna talk about. Um, but yeah, I think that as of now, it's fine. I guess we'll see what happens. I do think it is interesting that um, even like Coach Sala doesn't know, and maybe in the NFL, not the head coach doesn't have to know everything. I would think with his marquee player, he would have to at least know like a little bit of what's going on. But again, it Hassan Reddick really has the power here in a lot of ways because I mean he's the star they traded for. He has the leverage. Um, and that's just how it works nowadays. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I think I feel bad for New York fans because they just can't catch a break, man. Like, especially Jets fans, it's just every year there's just something. There's just something wrong. And honestly, they've had years of bad general management. Um, they pick Zach Wilson. They want him to pretty much be the savior of New York, and it fails. So they get Aaron Rodgers to be the savior of New York, and then in 4 plays, that dream went down last year. Um, honestly, I think right now, just the whole city, it just wants good football. It just wants a good QB to look at or and to be able to have
For either team,
for
honestly, not
either
just the
team.
Jets.
Pence, I mean, look at how much money they paid Daniel Jones. I mean, they paid him a ton of money. You want to talk about a team that's locked to a QB? It's definitely them. Um, and are they going to regret that contract? I guess we'll see this year, but as of right now, it's not looking good. So I really think that fans themselves are just kind of sick and tired. It feels like any bad news is like the worst news ever. Does that make sense? Um,
Yeah, it's just been a really bad year for New York sports to begin with. Like in
except the
baseball,
Knicks and the
the
Rangers.
Mets are awful. Mets fans are in agony. The Knicks got injured, probably should have made it all the way to the championship series, didn't because of injuries.
Yeah.
Um, and they're literally all living vicariously through the Yankees, all of them.
Uh-huh.
Like
Well, the Rangers are good.
The Giants are bad. The Jets have potential to be good. The Rangers were good, and they were all loving the Rangers until they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they were all sad and felt like they just got stabbed in the heart. So I honestly don't know which is worse, to just be awful and not make it anywhere, or be good enough to almost make it to the championship, but not. Like both are just agonizing. So I mean,
Exactly.
they're probably like, football season is coming, yay! Aaron Rodgers will be there. And then they get this news that Aaron Rodgers is not there. They're like, not again.
There's like
Why?
more
Spare us.
suffering. Yeah. No, I think that's hence the rants by WFAN from New York because they I mean those people their job is to watch and follow this stuff and I could imagine that that would be very frustrating and if you know something about New York people they are not very patient people they want everything now
Yeah.
so and especially when it comes to winning in sports so yeah definitely any listeners let us know in the comments or anything what you think is this a big deal is this not please let us know what you guys think um next. So we've got Travis Kelce, he is talking about he wants to be still in high usage of the for the Chiefs offense this year. He is 35 or he's and yeah, I mean, he's been playing for quite a while at this point. It feels like not that long, but yeah, in my opinion, because I feel like I remember him being drafted and being fairly young, but I mean, yeah, he's been playing for a while and he gets used a lot and he is probably the best tight end in the league right now. So, do you guys think that with him still wanting to be like high usage this year, is he going to be able to stay healthy? And if he gets injured, do they still have a chance to three-peat? Chris, you're our Chiefs guy. Let us know. What do you think?
Oh, let's see. 35. And don't get me wrong, like, yeah, we've seen his stats go down this past year. Um, and yeah, he's not wasn't like the most top like explosive dude, but he's still top tier.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the Chiefs offense. With Rashee Rice, we don't, he might be spending all year. So he might
Yeah.
actually get his wish with this. He's a good possession catcher. He is very smart. He's kind of reminds me of back when Gronk, of an older Gronk now, since he can block and now he can get off the screen and he's there and he goes up 3 yards, clutch play, and it's first down. So I mean, I can see it. Honestly, it's up to Mahomes, really. He could ask for the high usage and stuff like that. And as to what Andy Reid, I think he has a special heart for Travis Kelce. So honestly, I could see him being really good or mediocre. Really, he has nothing to really to prove. I mean, it'd be
Yeah.
great for him to three-peat, but honestly, at the end of the day, look at his career. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
look at the stats lines he's at. He's probably still he might. I know people have controversy from Tony Gonzalez to him, and they have some great tight ends coming out of here. So, but if he gets injured, I mean, you saw him. He got injured. You saw how it was. Um, but Mahomes, is Mahomes. It shows that he can inspire anyone as long as he can stay healthy. So really, the Chiefs, they can pull out some backstreet people and say, "Hey, you're going to catch the ball today." I mean, look at Tony. I mean, Kadarius Tony won't have a job, so they can replace him. So stuff like that,
Dang.
like Mahomes, literally. Oh, I'm not wrong. They put McCole Hardman over him, and he won us the Super Bowl. So just that being
True.
said, what has Kadarius Tony done? Give up interceptions and not go for the ball.
And he sat the bench.
And he rode the bench on not just like the fourth string. He rode the fifth string. Just as
They didn't even
FYI.
like write
He
him
did,
into play.
no, he didn't. So that's the funny part. But I will say the big factors now, I think, for the Chiefs is Sky Moore. If Rasheed Rice is gone, Sky Moore has to step up. Um,
Okay.
they need Kelce to step up.
Hmm.
Someone needs to step up on the Chiefs. Like I said last year, when I said I think these Kelce or Rasheed Rice will step up, Rasheed Rice stood up for the plate. I think they need someone that is a good leader. I think Mahomes is a good leader. I think Kelce will be a good leader. I think he'd be a great mentor to the wide receivers. But ultimately, uh, I can see him being used or not. There's no like, oh, he is like the key piece like Aaron Rodgers is. But I think he is one of those dudes that are like, you're good. You've done enough, man. If we three-peat, we three-peat. If we don't, we don't. That's it's just a blessing that you've been able to have a spectacular career these past couple of years. So,
They
Do you
really need Xavier Worthy to step up, the receiver that they took with pick 28 of the draft. He's a burner. He's kind of Tyreek-esque in his speed. If Rashee Rice ends up actually getting suspended for the year, which he probably should, if we're being honest, they're going to really need Xavier Worthy to step up as well.
Yeah, so Chris, question.
uh,
If Travis Kelce gets injured, can anybody else actually catch the ball on this team? Remember
Well,
last year?
MVP is finally gone. Oh, good gravy. I remember when they literally had like an 80-yard reception and he just
Oh,
goodness just
hey, but
dropped
he
it in
caught
the
it
freaking
against the
end
Ravens.
zone.
He caught it
Oh, that's
against the
great,
Ravens,
but we
and that was
needed that.
you
Um,
did, you did. That was a conference championship
oh,
game.
oh, but I will say, oh wait, what was your question? Wait, what was your question again?
If Travis gets hurt, can anybody else on this team catch the ball? I mean, you do have Marquise Brown, but apparently he drops it as well sometimes, but he's really fast.
Yeah, okay. The thing is, everyone says, "Oh, replacement Tyreek Hill." Tyreek Hill. Did we not remember in the Super Bowl, homeboy literally had it go through his hands, and it was against the Bucks, is when the Bucks
Yep,
won it, and he literally it hit him through his hands, and it didn't hit his helmet. And don't get me wrong, I don't know, understand like y'all signed up, and I understand it is hard to catch a ball, especially when the
it is.
quarterback is like 6'5" and just breathing on your back.
Yeah.
I can
Especially
empathize. It probably hit me in the helmet too.
and don't get me wrong, but like that's what your Tyreek Hill. He's a great player, and but speed is good, but as I've noticed, having the ability to be cognitive as like speed is good, but over time when you get older, you will slow down. Travis Kelce, he is not the most explosive person. And I understand like maybe Tyreek Hill, he's still fast, but when you get up to around the upper 30s, you start slowing down. And don't get me wrong, Xavier, he might get hurt. That's the thing. You slow down. So Sammy Watkins, we had him. He's a slower player now. But that thing like things like that, like possession catching and key moments and being cognitive is the best that you can have. Now Xavier Worthy, we don't know. I haven't seen him catch from Mahomes yet in a real game with quarterbacks trying to kill him. But I hope that someone needs to step up to the plate from Sky Moore to Xavier to maybe Travis Kelce. But we'll see. Maybe and maybe Hollywood Brown. But I could see Hollywood Brown being the number one wide receiver probably that right now.
I
Uh,
forgot he was on the team, to be honest.
Yeah,
Sky
Marquise
Moore
Brown.
will probably be number two currently, and Xavier Worthy will probably be slot. This is if Rasheed Rice does not is suspended, which I think the rumors has it. I think he will probably be suspended for a whole year, which is not good. But when you have money and you're young, apparently it goes to your head. Um,
I would be shocked if he didn't get suspended for at least part of the season.
or go to jail. He can say hi to Henry Ruggs. But
Bruh.
Yeah,
hey,
not a
hey,
good look.
hey, what can I say? Apparently the NFL likes convicts, apparently, but it's a slap on the wrist, especially if you have money. But that being said, I will say this. I will say this that Rashee Rice, although he is young and stupid, it is sad to see someone that has a potential throw away his career from Henry Ruggs to Rashee Rice to you know I mean, we forget Tyreek Hill slapped his kid to toughen him up. I mean, there's just terrible stuff in the NFL. But with that being said, it we just they just need to calm down, focus on the game, remember that it's a blessing and it's an honor to play with like Patrick Mahomes. Like when they're 50 years
True.
old, they'll look at Patrick Mahomes and be like, "Hey, I played one of the best with one of the best quarterbacks out there, right?" It's like Tom Brady. When everyone meets Tom Brady, they're like, "Oh wait, I met Tom Brady. He's the GOAT." So
I mean, they do have the privilege of playing with Carson Wentz. You are right about that.
I'm
Yes.
leaving now.
Okay, but here's the thing. Let's say theoretically that Rasheed Rice does not get suspended at all this season. Do you think that that pushes Sky Moore to wide receiver four, or do you think it pushes Xavier Worthy to wide receiver four?
If Rasheed Rice comes in, Rasheed Rice will probably be number one. Hollywood be two. Probably Sky Moore would either A lose it depends on the training camp. He might lose his job or Xavier Worthy might come in, honestly. Because Xavier Worthy, he's a rookie, but Sky Moore has been longevity. It really honestly it depends on Andy Reid too, because not to be in this way, but Tom Brady was sacked because well, he was in college. he was not as looked for, and it was said, you're a rookie player, you're not going to play, But then I don't know Andy Reid, so it could be that he's loyal to veteran players, and Sky Moore comes in there. Don't get me wrong, I think Sky Moore has reached his roof and does not have the high potential of being, let's say, like a Rashee Rice or a top wide receiver. I think he's mediocre, but I think Xavier Worthy, give him a shot, but we also don't want to kill him because that we don't want to have a JC Horn on our team. He gets injured
True.
for on a game and then is out for a half of the season. It's like, why are we paying him? So it's just like that. Like it
Here-
really depends. It really depends in the next couple of months as to Rashee Rice. Honestly, I could see him getting slapped with just it's a few games, but honestly, if I had to say it, I would suspend him for a year, if not jail time, because it was a terrible moment the way he did. So
So
Yeah, I
hear me
mean,
out.
and oh, go
Hear me
ahead.
out. Sorry. Just hear me out. I think that if Travis actually gets hurt, and even though Andy Reid seems to hate it, I think he's just gonna hand it off to Pacheco more. Like no joke, that's what they did in the Super Bowl. Things weren't working. How many touches did Isaiah Pacheco have in that Super Bowl? Like 20 touches. I think he had more than McCaffrey. I feel like they might just become a running team.
okay, but to be honest, Pacheco actually had some good openings.
Oh
He
no, I'm
had
not saying he didn't. I'm just saying
Yeah, their
that.
line showed up in run blocking during that game.
Yeah,
Now they
because
might have held a few people, but we don't talk about that.
look, I'm just no, I'm not saying that he can't run. I'm just saying that I think Andy Reid knew at the end of last year, he's like, look, my passing game is not great. Even though we have Mahomes, it's not working. Just give it to Pacheco. So, I mean, personally, I think he'll go that way if
And
they get injured.
CEH is still here too. So
Yes, exactly.
apparently like I said, Andy Reid seems to like his veteran players. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think CEH is okay, but Pacheco is a very different player from CEH, but their offense will be good, especially with this the new rules coming out. Unfortunately, with the onside kick, I really don't want to buy Madden. For those who are listening, if we do stream
Oh, we
Madden,
all we all know you're
I
going to.
I
Don't
don't
even.
know. I don't know. The onside kick it just takes it just like ruins the game for me. I don't even want to. I'm not even sure if I don't know. We'll see. I might just turn off the TV when they did do the kickoffs at this point, because there's no point in this at this place. So it's just
For those
stupid.
of you that don't know, Chris likes to torment people in Madden by trying to onside kick the first kick of the game, and he is utterly distraught that this completely reasonable form of play has been taken out of the game. Woe
Like
is
the
Except
him.
until the fourth quarter. Until the fourth
I'm
Woe
quarter.
sorry.
is him that he
Oh,
can't onside kick the first play of the game.
and you have to declare it too, by the way, which is even
So
stupid.
sad.
So stupid. It's you can't even surprise the opponent. It's like they literally want to take out surprises out of Madden and in real life.
I
So
think we struck a chord.
ay ay
I
ay.
I think he's remembering his sadness. You're still gonna buy next year's Madden, don't worry.
Okay,
I
but here's the thing in regards to Travis Kelce. Say Travis Kelce does get hurt. If Travis Kelce gets hurt, there's probably no other team that could make up that injury like the Chiefs purely due to Mahomes, right? I mean, like Chris said, he can take dudes from the street and just make them into superstars. But I think if Kelce does get hurt, I mean, we've seen some of their other tight end options that have played during the playoffs and the Super Bowl, etc. And I mean, they're nothing like super special. If Kelce does get hurt, on top of Rashee Rice getting suspended, I don't think they win the Super Bowl again. I think that Kelce is too pivotal a piece of that offense. And if they lose Rashee Rice and they're depending on a veteran and a rookie and a guy that's probably washed already, I just don't foresee them being able to do it. I think there's going to be a lot of really strong competition in the AFC this year, especially in regards to the Ravens and the Texans. I think that they're really going to rival the Chiefs this year for the AFC Championship. So if they lose players like that at a pivotal time, I just personally don't see them making back to a Super Bowl and winning again. But we'll have to see. Like I said, if there's any team that can lose Kelce, it's probably this team only because they have Mahomes and Mahomes makes everyone around him better. So we'll have to see. But I mean, let's be honest. I don't have as much faith in Noah Brown, right? That's his name, one of their backup tight ends. I think his name's
Noah
Noah
Gray.
something. Yeah, Noah Gray. Like, I don't have nearly as much faith in that guy as I have in Kelce. So we'll see.
Well,
But it would be double trouble if both Kelce got hurt and Rashee Rice got suspended. That'd be rough. But on the plus side, they don't have Tony. So I mean, one could say they've already hit rock bottom and have
Oh,
survived. So
not Tony. I will say Noah Gray, he did have his moments as to being pretty good. He had his moments when he had to be clutch. I will say that. There were
yeah, he's just
times.
not Kelce. But I
Oh
mean, he's
no.
not bad.
No one could be. Like I said, I don't think no one could be like Kelce. That's like saying like Kelsey's like Gronk. Because like no, they're two different players. You just can't. Unfortunately, you can't compare both of them. So,
We'll
oh
see
well,
though.
we
Yeah,
will see.
I think it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, guys, let us know what you think. Do you think high usage Travis Kelce is going to get them all the way, or do we think that if something happens, are they going to have to, are these other guys going to step up? Let us know what you think. We've given our thoughts, so please let us know. But I think that's pretty much going to do it for today's episode. Chelsea, you want to lead us out of here?
Yeah, for sure. So thanks for listening, guys. Tune back in next week, or not next week, because we're doing bi-weekly posts now. So it'll be 2 weeks from this week that we'll be doing our next episode, most likely. We are going to try and live stream this episode. So we will be posting information and times and dates and things as we figure out the live stream. That's something that we want to start doing just to connect with our audience even more so than we're already doing. But when that comes, make sure you tune back in. In the meantime, follow us on Twitter at LaunchCodesFB and on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at LaunchCodesFootball. I'm Chelsea,
I'm Chris W.
And I'm Chris P.
and we will see you next week or the week after, depending on when we film.
See ya.
Later.
Bye.